Hey there, everyone. Will DuPree once again in the KXAN live studio. We do appreciate you joining us here on election night as results keep coming in almost 2 hours after the polls closed here in Texas. At the moment, we want to bring in a Republican perspective on the things that are happening here in the state and, of course, in Travis County in our Austin area. Joining me right now is Gerald Daugherty. He is one of the county commissioners for Travis County. Gerald, thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate you joining us in our little space tonight.
We'll enjoy being here with you.
Yeah. First of all, I want to tell everybody that you are not running for re-election. First, take me into that decision. What was it that made you say, you know what, I'm just going to kind of sit this one out. I'm going to say this is enough for me. What was it that made you decide that?
Combination, turning 70 in January of this year.
Okay. And looking good too, I must say.
Thank you very much. And 14 years, you know, I have always been a big term limit supporter. And I think one of the things that, you know, could sort of right the ship in this country, if you may, is, you know, having a good, strong look at term limits. I mean, you know, I think that if you believe in the Constitution, you may you know, understand that, you know, no one ever felt like that this ought to be a profession. And so I think it's been, you know, enough time for me here as the Precinct 3 Commissioner. And, you know, and I look forward to supporting the causes that make sense in Travis County. And so that was the reason that I made the decision that I made.
Right, and after 14 years, you think it's the right one too?
I think it is the right one.
What I want to ask you to get some reaction on is the results coming in for your particular seat in the Democratic primary for the Travis County Commissioner Precinct 3 seat. Take a look at these results, Gerald, and tell me kind of what you think about it.
Well, I think it's interesting in that Valinda Bolton, long time, you know, involved, you know, very in the trenches Democrat. You know, I'm a little surprised that, you know, that this differential is the 49 to 31. Ann Howard, I mean, quite frankly, is a good candidate. I mean, I know Ann. You know, I think a lot of Ann, and I can see why, you know, she has garnered, you know, the support that she has. But got to be, you know, real honest with you, I'm a little surprised that that the differential here, you know, for early voting, 49 to 31, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you know, people that have been in the, you know, political scene really understands that early voting, even though you can't necessarily completely take it to the bank, you know, moving early voting more than 3, 4, 5 points is really difficult. So, you know, early vote counts come out and you're up 15, 16 points plus. That's impressive, and that may be hard to overcome.
Yeah, feeling pretty good, I would imagine, if you can put up that margin. But this one is a pretty close race for your seat. It looks like as more results come in this evening. I also want to get your opinion about the Travis County District Attorney race. Of course, Margaret Moore is the incumbent there, but she's facing a pretty tough fight, it looks like, with the early vote totals coming in. Again, you'll see there are 0% of precincts today reporting. We don't have those results at the moment. This is just from early voting, that 2-week period. To see Jose Garza there in first at the moment, pretty close though. Gerald, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, this one is something that I would think would be much more of what you might see. Margaret has had a lot of folks come at her, and you know, you can convince a community if someone, you know, has some things that, you know, quite frankly, people want to latch on to, and you can sell it. This is something that it doesn't surprise me, but I will say 45 to 41 is something that you can overcome with Election Day, versus the last one that we saw where you have 49 and 31. So this one is certainly in striking distance. So it'll be interesting to see what Election Day, provides for the candidates.
For sure, months away at this point. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Will DuPree, here, that's me, in the KXAN live studio alongside Gerald Daugherty. He is the Precinct 3 County Commissioner for Travis County. He is retiring his seat after 14 years in that position. And if I understand correctly, Gerald, you're the lone Republican on the Commissioner's Court, is that right?
I'm not just a lone Republican on the Travis County Commissioners Court. There are 57 partisan office holders in Travis County. 56 are Democrats. 1 is a Republican.
That's you.
So that's me.
Yeah.
But I've lived here for 50 plus years, and it has always been a very strongly held Democratic community. I've known that every time I've run. I mean, it's been something that I've recognized that stick an R by your name, and it's tough to win in Travis County. So, but that's what it is. That's where we live, and I've understood that for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you understand what it's like to have to kind of work across the aisle with people and build some consensus and make decisions, which seems to be lacking in many other spheres in the public world.
I think that people do want just good governance. People have asked me, how do you think that you have survived, Gerald, being a Republican in Travis County? And I think it's been because, party affiliation has never meant the most to me. I certainly am more of from the conservative bent. But I think that people want good, sensible government, and I think that's always been the case. And if you approach this business in that manner, I think that you can find that you can be rewarded with that, because at the end of the day, I mean, what people want are just good, sound decisions made for the people of this community.
I'm assuming again, but I would imagine you're a lifelong Republican, correct?
I have been a Republican ever since I've been a voter.
Yeah. To see the state of the party at the moment, with Donald Trump leading the ticket and really driving home a message for many down-ballot Republicans, where do you see the state of the race? I'd love to hear your opinion about that and kind of your perspective.
Well, being a long-term Republican, I can say that fiscally, I have always been there. I think that Donald Trump, has, been someone that, has brought some things to the table that, quite frankly, are issues that people, want to believe in. I think the unfortunate thing that we sometimes all see, I mean, Republicans and Democrats, is that, expressions and delivery, means a lot to people. I have said to my friends that have asked me, why would you support Donald Trump? And I said, I try to tone out as much as I can the delivery that he has, but the issues that I think that he takes on are good issues for Republicans. But I do understand that I've always told people that likability is a huge issue in running for public office. I got to give it to Trump. I mean, he's not necessarily interested in that. He is who he is, and I respect that. I wish that he delivered a little bit different message at times, but at the end of the day, I think that from my standpoint, the issues that he takes on are very, very important and something that mostly I support.
Everyone, again, you're listening to Gerald Daugherty here with me, Will DuPree, in the KXAN live studio. He is a retiring county commissioner with the Travis County Commissioners Court. He is going to be leaving his seat this year after 14 years doing that and being the only Republican elected official in Travis County, which is a pretty incredible feat to think about, truly. But to know that your replacement will be announced here very soon and will be on the ballot there, any advice for that person who's going to be taking on the position? I mean, you have a lot of experience after 14 years. What do you share with that person?
Well, I mean, first of all, I mean, we've got a lot of time before we determine who's going to be in that position. I mean,
Right.
tonight just, determines who is going to be the Democratic nominee. I am very much in support of Becky Bray. She is the Republican. She was fortunate enough to run unopposed. And hey, running unopposed in a primary is very important. You don't have to spend a lot of money on, trying to win a race. And, you especially, are challenged if you are in a race where you can't quite get to that 50%. Then you have a runoff that will be at the end of May. So you've had to raise a lot of money to be in the top two. Then if you can't win it outright, then you got to raise a lot more money to win it at the end of May, and then you got to raise a lot more money to try to win in November. So it'll be a good race. I mean, all of us that run with ours by our name know that in Travis County, you got to run, really smart, really hard, and you've really got to appeal to people in a manner where people think that you're going to be a good elected official and that you're going to do the work that the majority of the people feel like that they need. So we'll see, but it'll be an interesting November, but it's going to be an interesting evening to see if there's somebody that can win outright. If not, then we'll see who can win at the end of May.
Again, the runoffs may happen if those candidates cannot pull in that majority vote. Once again, Gerald Daugherty, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you adding your perspective. Is there anything that you would want to add that we didn't get a chance to talk about before I let you get off here on our digital space?
No, I mean, this is what this is all about. I respect each and every person that runs for public office because public office is very, very difficult for most people. It's not something that comes naturally to most people. And if you really want to be involved and you really want to try to make a difference, running for public office is something that is so important. And I respect everybody that's willing to do that. It is the system. I think that it's the best system in the world. And, may the best person win. And, it'll be an exciting evening. And then it will be an exciting race for the November election. And I'm sure that people, by that time, they certainly will be ready, to get it over with. But, hey, I've done it many times. I've been in 6 races myself.
Wow.
And so I've been here, each of these kind of evenings where it's sort of a nail-biting kind of an evening. But, it works, and I know everybody is going to be happy. This is one of those things where when it's all said and done, you're really, whether you win or lose, you're kind of ready to have it over.
I would imagine there's a lot of build-up to this very moment.
If you can
Yeah.
get it over, I mean, it's a little interesting, when people go, oh, mercy. I mean, I haven't won the thing, so I've got to run hard for another 2 months.
This is just the first hurdle for all these
This is the first
candidates.
hurdle, yeah.
That was my next question for you is to not have that chance to run again. I mean, what's that like to say, like, I'm sitting back, I'm enjoying myself tonight, I don't have to worry about election results. I would imagine it feels pretty good.
Well, it's much more comfortable, I will
For
say.
sure.
I will say that. I say it's not totally comfortable because you're a little anxious watching these things because you know how you have felt all the times that you have run for office. And that's the reason I respect people so much that are willing to do this because it's difficult. I mean, you have to get out of your comfort zone to run for office. You've got to go out and sell yourself. You certainly got to go out and convince people that you're going to be able to do the job that you know that most people want done, which is just good, sensible governance. And that's what it's all about. And so we'll see, after tonight, if there are no clear winners, we'll see what happens by the end of May, and then we'll be on to the November election.
For sure. Gerald Daugherty, once again, the outgoing Travis County Commissioner for Precinct 3, thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you coming into our space this evening and talking to us. We do appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Will.